Audio check. Audio check. Okay, audio's good. Hello everyone, just gonna go quickly over what we're gonna be getting next Tuesday with the release of the Season 14.5 update. This is a very small update, it's just got a few things in it. It's got a new episode that I'm sure will be interesting. It's got some unique mechanic where we play as them, I guess, or something. So we can see the backstory for the Zenkethi there. But the big thing, other than the constable specialization, which I don't think they've confirmed if that's in here or if that's going to be Victory is Life. Hopefully it's going to be coming out with this. But the big thing here to me is the Infinity Lockbox update, because they're changing multiple things within the Infinity Lockbox. For one, the Infinity Lockbox, because this is a small season, it's only going to be out for like 2 months until the big expansion comes out. They're going to have the Infinity Box out for the entire duration, basically. So, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's going to tank the prices on a lot of things, but that will be helpful for many of us. But the big things here are the tier 6 ship boxes, the normal tier 6 one, and then the ultra rare T6 one. The ultra rare T6 one is the one that had the Vomp Natros in it. Those are, well, that box is going to be removed, and it's all going to be combined into just a single tier 6 box. So there will be no more of this little box right here, this epic quality one. Instead, there's going to be just the ultra rare quality, which has all of the tier 6 lockbox ships in it. So if you have any of these epic boxes, sit on them. They'll be auto-converted over to the T6 boxes when this update rolls out. Yeah, Goss, the prices have already went up a bit, and hopefully, if you want one, oh, they're up much more than that now, 180 mil. If you want one of these, I hope you got it already, because those prices are already comparable to normal box prices. Where's the Vomp at? 240. Okay. Then we have another ship box update. The tier 5 ships and the secondary ship boxes are being combined into a single pack. So this is actually really nice. Like, if you were after a Decora or any of the other ships that are still only have their T5 versions, those are going to become really, really cheap. So like the Nicor, which is a really solid ship still, that's going to be, what, 5 mil? You've got people like me that are sitting on how many of those secondary ship boxes. I know I've still got like 300 to 400 of these things scattered on a bunch of different characters, and now they're going to have all the tier 5 ships. So, that's a very nice change. And this is something that's going to help KDF and Romulan players. So, if you have a tier 6 box right now, and you want to get like one of the Kelvin ships, so the example they gave is the Kelvin or the TOS Dreadnought. If you're a Klingon player, you knew that those D4X ships were always going to be much more expensive than the Kelvin Enterprise would be for Feds. So instead of just giving the ship, what it's going to do now is just give you the Kelvin box out of it so you can get the ship for any faction. So this is just going to increase the amount of supply for those ships for Klingon and Romulan players, which is a very nice change. Let's see. And then, of course, we have the updated prize list, including all the Zenkethi stuff. That's nice. It's nothing surprising. And then, of course, we have the Tier 6 Wells, which... I mean, we've known that this was coming for a very long time. I mean, I think I recall, back before some of those sites shut down, that there was a leak site that had pictures of, like, this T6 Wells, like, last summer. This was known to be coming for a very long time. But the big thing here is this special note. I'll zoom in on this. As of the release of this updated Infinity Box, the special consoles associated with these starships are no longer ship restricted, but may instead be used on any starship you own. This includes both the newly enhanced versions of these consoles, as well as the existing Tier 5 versions. So, this is a change that's already been a bit controversial, because, for one, they're doing it with the temporal ships, and for anyone that's ever done PvP in any serious level, you'll know that the backstep console off of the Wells, the temporal science ship, is an extremely powerful console. If you have especially if you have like the 2-piece set that makes it a bubble, that it just stops everything around it, and it's just really, really something. So the Wells was, even at Tier 5, a very competitive ship in PvP because of that console. And now they have given it to every ship in the game. So there's a lot of people that do PvP still, which I know this will surprise some people, but there are people that still do PvP. There's a lot of people saying rip PvP, because what this is going to do for any public match is going to be absurd. That console has always been crazy, and the fact that you can now put it on better science ships, like the Scryer or the Damosh, is just going to be absurd. So, speaking of that, the consoles, the enhanced Tippler cylinder, which is the backstep console, now provides a passive boost to exotic damage and starship shield capacity. I don't think anyone cares about that. It's probably not too much. The trait, while the trait is slotted, traveling above 88 impulse speed will cause you to gain stacks out of time, while suffering minor cold damage each second. When you drop below that speed, all stacks are removed, and a scaling bonus to your bridge officer recharge times is applied based on the number of stacks obtained. So, I just want to point out that this trait, if you go fast, which if you're doing PvP, you're hopefully going fast, you're going to take damage using this trait, and I can't see anyone reasonably using this. It just seems like a waste. Then we have the Temporal Destroyer. Not going to look at the stats. I don't really care much about them. This console, so the enhanced Mannheim device, the one off the Temporal Destroyer, provides a passive boost to shield hardness, strain X, and control X. People are only going to be using this for the set bonus anyways. And then the trait, while this trait is slotted, suffering electrical or radiation damage will grant a reduction to the cooldown timers of your captain abilities. This may only be triggered once every several seconds. In PvP, you are going to be taking electrical or radiation damage quite often, so the question is for this is how much of a cooldown reduction is it for your captain abilities? But that is the big question. We are going to have to wait and see, because they don't like to give us the numbers in these blogs. Yeah, it's... Goss, I don't quite get it either. Why do they keep introducing all these methods of cooldown reduction that are not really reliable? You know, Oxabat is still there, and it's not like your Ox power is too important on most builds anymore. And unless you're doing a science build, you're not going to do it, but still, there's so many other ways you can do it that are reliable. And I don't think we care about the rest. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting change, and I personally believe that the biggest change that this new season will bring is the Infinity Lockbox update. I think the specialization will be interesting. I don't think it's going to be very popular for most people, based on what I've seen with it. Simple fact is, most people I know in the game are not even going to want to use it. Just to rehash what I covered like a week or so ago, the issue with the Constable specialization is it's fully a single target focused specialization. So if you're on an AoE build, you're only getting a buff against a single target after you've been targeting them for 4 seconds. And once you kill them, you have to wait another 4 seconds after you target something else to get the buff on that next target. So it doesn't really fit with the meta of most builds. I don't think they're going to nerf Oxabat. I think if they were going to nerf it, they would have done that last year. I believe that they feel at this point that Oxabat is too established, and that Oxabat already has enough cons, being it completely eliminates your auxiliary power. And speaking of the wells here, the T5 wells has already gone up a nice bit. The thing is this wells actually has real value, like the T5 Galore did, because the console's now going to be usable on any ship. This is what happens when I don't actively play the game. I only log in and buy keys, and then I end up being poor. Well, I'm gonna have a lot of night cores here. Right now. Yeah. Gosh, that constable specialization is very underwhelming. Even if you are a single target focused player, your build is doing single target focus, there's next to no point to use that specialization, because the first 4 seconds you target the enemy, you're not getting a buff. And if you're doing AoE like 95% of people in this game are, the entire specialization is worthless for you. I'm gonna do something different now. I think the last time I streamed I was doing DPS mark. Let's do DPS under fire. Set this. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying they dropped the torp and they've seen an increase. I'm gonna do DPS under fire. This is a harder map than DPS mark. This one is set to challenge your survivability a bit. because there's a lot of size spam with sub nukes from enemies. Okay. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask. Like, really, this season we're getting is not really much. So here it is. Yeah, for a cruiser, I just feel like Ox to Bat is just standard for a cruiser, and with most escorts, you can get away with it. For a Psi ship, there's a few ways to reduce Psi instability cooldowns if you have certain abilities and stuff. Like you've got the Timeline Stabilizer console. Really stacking up your readiness skills, something that really is good for science builds. And some, like, engineer cruiser type builds. Or, like healer. Okay. Let's see how terrible I do at this. DPS under fire is one that has, like, the Zen... Or not Zenkethi, the Iconians in it. It's been a bit of a pain before. Let's see how many times I die. I forgot it was set like this to start you off with no shields. Oh, I got my Zal. I'm gonna have to slot Valdor for this. Oh yeah, these next guys got sub nukes. Where's Valdor? Not hitting too many buffs because one of these is going to turn around and sub-nuke me. The really challenging part of this is the Iconians. We get a new specialization, a new mission, and an updated Infinity Lockbox with multiple changes. Oh boy. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat right now. Yeah, season 14.5 is coming out on Tuesday. It was announced with the Infinity Lockbox blog that came out just a little bit ago, which I went over at the start of the stream. Ionic turbulence. Such a pain. Last enemy. Okay, and that's done. The Iconians throw out too much spam. Okay, let me catch up on chat. Miracle Worker is a decent specialization. It's not for everyone, but it's very good for survivability, for sure. Yeah, gosh, the promo ships are still way too expensive. I really wish they would at least make account-wide unlocks with how much they cost, because really, for a promotional ship, you are looking at about a $200 investment at best. Sometimes it can certainly be quite a bit more than that. Um, yeah, the 14.5 expansion having very little content in it is a bit underwhelming, but hopefully what we get 2.5 months from now will make up for it. I agree there. Hi Kyle. And the thing is with the season updates, if we go back and look, most of them have in the last year been quite a bit underwhelming. The last really big season update I can think of is season 13. and I think that scared Cryptic a little with the response they got. So I think the next big update is hopefully they don't disappoint and there's more to this expansion than some are saying there's going to be. I'm hopeful that this new expansion will make up for the lack of progress in the game from most of the last year. Because really, I could have went and took a break. I could have stopped playing last summer, shortly after Season 13, and came back at any point now, and there'd have been almost no change in the game. But a new specialization, maybe, the new Colony World holding is still stupidly expensive. I pretty much stopped putting dill into my fleet's colony holding because I'm almost out of my dill mine claims. I had 10,000 of these at one point from opening so many lockboxes, and I'm almost out. This holding was just too expensive. It's crazy how expensive, just for one fleet, how much it was. But for those that missed it, this video will be going up as its own video after the stream ends. But some quick recaps are that the Infinity Lockbox is getting a few updates. One of the bad things is that the T6 temporal ships we're getting, one of the changes they've done is they've made the console, the backstep, and the Mannheim. They've made it so those can be used on any ship. Oh, they've said that, Goss, and what was that? Only 6 or 7 total missions they're doing? That's terrible. How many missions was it with Legacy of Romulus? Like, they're saying only 6 or 7 missions with the Victory is Life expansion? There's more than that, basically, you know, just in this first arc for Romulans. You know? It's just crazy. Hopefully these are substantial missions. Then if that's the case, or as Wolfgar just said there, hopefully there is more than that they put in over time. I'll give you guys a market tip right now also. If you have any of these T5 ships that are still in the T5 box from the Infinity lockbox, so the Heroian Hunter, the Undine Nakor, Voth Bastion, the Decora, the ships that do not have T6 versions yet, you need to sell those now. Same for the Orb Weaver. If you have the Temporal Science Vessel, hold on to those, but if you have any of these other old T5 lockbox ships, sell them now. What's going to happen is one of the Infinity Lockbox updates is they are merging the T5 ship box and the secondary ship box. So the value of your tier 5 lockbox ships is about to crash, with the exception being the ones that are already out of the box and the Wells, the Temporal Science Vessel. All of these other ones are gonna get very cheap. So if you're after a cheap Nikor or Orb Weaver or Decora, don't worry. They're gonna be under 10 million next week, most likely. Because you've got people like me out there that have hundreds of these secondary ship boxes just laying around that are a pain to deal with, that are now going to be able to use these to get those ships. Yes, a Voth T6 would be interesting. And the other box that they're merging, for those that missed it at the start, goes. Is this one here. the Infinity Prize Pack Ultra Rare T6. They are merging this and the other T6 box, so there will be no more cheap Vomps or Atroses, because the reasoning behind it was there's only 2 ships in this box, and nobody really cared about them, and they're not going to add any more of them in anytime soon. So they're just going to get rid of it and merge the 2 boxes. So if you have one of these epic quality ultra rare T6 boxes, then you need to keep this and wait for it to convert over to a normal T6 box on Tuesday. Hello, Dane Bramaged. Anyone got any other questions or something? I don't really know what else to talk about with STO, if I'm being honest. There's 3 things really coming out on Tuesday for the next season, and only one of them is really even substantial to me. That's the Infinity Lockbox update, which we're gonna have for the entire season apparently, so 2.5 months of Infinity Lockboxes. Expect a lot of things to get a bit cheaper, fortunately. Don't worry. The stream will go up as a video after I'm done. There really wasn't much to talk about. This game hasn't had much to talk about for most of last year. I don't even know what to go do right now. Negative. We have heard nothing new about that battle zone that's coming out with the expansion. All we have had to mess with is the stuff coming out on Tuesday here, so the Constable specialization. That's it. I had an idea for like a sector space battle zone a while back, like if it were the Borg or something and you had to, gain control. Like sort of how the Dyson ground battle zone worked. You had to take over control of each section, where it'd be like you had to go into a system, fight the Borg, then move on to the next. There's no new reputation, it's just the specialization. The Constable specialization, which like 99% of people aren't even going to want to use because it's worse than the other specialization options for secondaries. There may be a few Jem'Hadar ships. I don't really follow the canon too much. I'm a bit weird like that. I didn't really follow that stuff. I think it'll be funny if they get like a free bug ship. Like especially if it comes with the trait for the go for the kill, the rapid fire extension trait. That would make some people salty, but at the same time, you gotta realize that you then have to spend how much to get that character taken care of for all the other things. There's so many things you need to get a character up to like min-max status. It's just crazy. Oh, another Karat type battle zone is what you're talking about there. That would be interesting, but I don't see them doing that. It's just crazy how expensive this is. I know I've said it numerous times, but the cost to get this up to tier 5 is going to be another 1.2 million dill. And then after that, we have the upgrade that's probably going to need 2 to 3 million dill. Now, for us, for TBC to get this infrastructure up to tier 5, we're going to need to put in another 9.6 million dill, basically. And then for morale tier 4, or yeah, to get that up to tier 5, it's like, is that 11.3 mil dill or something like that? Well, I guess it's 90 something K per, not 100, but it's some absurd amount around 11 million just to get this up to tier 5. Another 9 to get this up to tier 5. Just crazy. Yeah. Gosh, will the new zone stuff actually work? That is a very good question. Hopefully they have QA go in and test stuff, but I don't know if they have QA right now. Last year was full of mistakes that should have been easily caught if they actually had QA going. Yeah, nobody should give dill to this. It's not worth it. And speaking of zones, let's see, how many are in the Zenkethi battle zone? That's the Gon Ross system. There's 2 people in. Such an active battle zone. Let me see, I can't see, the status of the other fleets in my armada. But let's see. Yeah, they're still tier 3. They're still working tier 2 on some of them. Have anything up? Tier 4. Tier 0. Nothing up. Tier 1. Tier 1. Cool. That is a very good post there, guys. They will always find that third worst option. I don't even know what to do right now. Let's see. I haven't done ISA in, well, since last time I streamed. Let's see how bad I do. I'm too rusty at this. 130k. I miss rapid fire so much right now. In 44k. I'm going to swap over to a thing that has gotten some bait and not care. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, rapid fire was target of a bit of hate from some because rapid fire just it does bad things to the enemies. Preference targeting. But rapid fire is extremely OP against single targets, and I greatly enjoy it, so I'm going to run it and not care. Going to Kittimer. Blow something up. So how's everyone doing? This is the fun part of watching any STO stream. You're just looking at the screen waiting for a people to join or something, or timer. It's really fun. Makes STO a very fun game to stream. Well, I've been using Scatter Volley just because the change they did to it, but Rapid Fire is just still so much fun. And personally, I don't care about the salt people were throwing my way about it. That made me just want to use it more. Also, that DPS under fire map, that was originally designed for survivability, like testing, to test for tanks to test their survivability. And it actually has a table on the parser if anyone's looking for a different table to mess around with. I know some people care about getting on the tables. If anyone wants to join for Kittimer, it needs like 2 more. Anytime, game. Anytime. Well, Gus, what was specifically causing issues is because in ISA, some people take ISA very, very seriously, and if you ruin their run, they are going to be very upset. And so some of those people were getting very triggered about it. This feels much better. Oh, I'm supposed to watch that, aren't I? Oops. Yeah, I'll let that guy clean that up. I'm such a nice teammate. Oh no, we failed the objective. I remember people trolling in this map with TBR and they'd push the probes in. That was funny back in the day. You'd get some very triggered people. Oh no. Yeah, guys, I get that point, but just the level of triggered was absurd. Demetrius posted a chat log on his subreddit of some of it, and it was just crazy. Oh, goodbye, Denatra. See, you see, I'm casual. I just blew up in an advanced queue. See, like, this is such casual gameplay. I think I'm gonna put Zal on, so if I do get dropped back down to 0, it's not as embarrassing. Where you at, Zal? Need new glasses. That's what I need. Oh, I must have not dragged this on the tray properly. Sorry, Cryptic. The Elachi Red Alert. That's just too easy to even bother with, like, with the single target focus. This stream's been going on for 53 minutes. Oh no, I'm almost out of batteries. There we go. The issue with like half of these queues is they're like stupidly time gated. Yeah. I'm gonna go really casual and swap over to my Fed TAC and set up a cruiser if one's not already on it. I'm gonna go really cannon, pull out the phasers, and have a bunch of fun. By fun, I mean fail miserably and do like no DPS. still not have a better shield on this character? How do I still not have the competitive shield on this? What is wrong with me? Wow. Oh, this is a disruptor. I can't have that on there. Get off. Let's see here. Let's go with one of them. Do them 2 Omnis in the back. Swap these all over to phasers. You know, I really miss the old days where we had the unique, you know, the really interesting unique look on all of the TAC consoles. Like before they redid the icons. I know the Fleet TAC consoles always looked like this, but I miss those icons. Right, do I put all phaser? Nope. I don't need that. The console for this look like? Reinforced ornaments. There it is. Oh, you know, this build has a major issue, guys. The major issue with this build is it's like too min-maxed. What I gotta do is I gotta be very canon and use all the Metreon gas stuff. What I gotta do. Oh yeah, this is a beast console. This is gonna definitely do more than attack console. This incremental phase cloaking device. Oh, it's gonna do so great. I look at all the crit chance I'm like just throwing out here. It's because these consoles are so amazing. Where's the Metreon gas? Here it is. This used to be one of my mains. This is my original Fed TAC. So the original character I made was a Fed Psi. That character's got like 100 and something days of playtime on it. So I started out with a science player, or a science character. Then I moved on to tactical. I briefly did some stuff with an engineer and then stopped because I saw just how bad engineers are. I'm sorry for anyone that means an engineer, but they're bad. They are really bad. I've seen TAC players tank better than engineer players because of how the game mechanics work with like threat gen. Yeah. Okay, this is, as I said, this is like a very fun build. It's not anything serious. And while this trait does nice, I need the crit chance and stuff from supercharged weapons to make up for me running no consoles that, you know, help. Gotta make sure my Metreon gas is somewhere that I can easily find it. Would hate to not have that on my tray. Oh, this incremental phase shift console, gotta have that. It's too OP. Biker maneuver. Okay, the only thing that engineers have that Miracle Worker, you know, helps them with is like if you get a crit heal on miraculous repairs. Like, I know people were getting 500,000 with that, but that's like 500,000 heal on a single click, okay? That's nice. That's it. Like, power management doesn't really matter anymore with AMP having been nerfed. Well, not nerfed, it was fixed. AMP is a Cat 1 buff off your Warp Core now, so if you don't have a subsystem maxed, you're losing 3.3 all damage. Cat 1. Doesn't really matter. With emergency powered weapons, you've got enough power for your weapons that you don't need Leech or Supremacy. Like, if you want to know how important power is now, I'm running my Romulan DPS build, min-max, without Leech or Supremacy. That should tell you how much power matters right now. For your other subsystems. All that matters is weapons. Ox to Bat covers the rest for me. Like, I hit Ox to Bat. Look, oh man, look at all that power. Immersive powered engines, oh yeah, there's just so much power. Okay. What I'm gonna do here, let's see how bad these consoles and things do in ISA. I'm gonna even start from space. This is gonna be great. The Borg won't know what hit them. Metron gas all of them. Yeah, let's launch the Metron gas canister at the transformer. Yeah. OP. Got all them torpedoes. Not even using like a good torp, I'm using the wide arc. Yeah, I may have been over-tanked for this. Stay alive so I can launch this. Oh. Out. Nah, not too far. 10k. We had someone in here doing 91. See how bad the Metron gas can is. Parser quick. Oh yeah, super OP. Metron Gas Cloud, 95 DPS. Oh, Metron Gas Ignition. This is the actual Metron Riker maneuver console thing you have to tier 5. 1.8k DPS. Done it. Super OP. Now, if I had used the Quantum Phase Torp instead of the Quantum Torp, just the wide arc, the DPS would have been much better. But this one that I was using is just the wide arc. And it's not the best thing ever. Which is very saddening. Let's see what else. Overall, a very disappointing parse. The attacks. Okay, so I had 51% of the threat. I failed. I failed my tank duties. Oh, I was just reading chat too, like, that is certainly a elitist comment. Half the people who play this game can't out DPS a hangar bay. The Fed fleet support's the scary one. Like, if you get this out and it's able to stay alive because there's someone pulling threat, that fleet support for Feds will do a lot. People have seen that thing do 15 to 20k DPS by itself. It's crazy good. This is just a fun build to mess around with. Oh yeah, I've got Battle Cloak on this, don't I? Wow, I failed. I've got this incremental phase console on, which this is like such a terrible console. Because it locks you down and makes it so you can't do anything for 5 seconds. Yeah. Well, I don't know what else to do or show you guys, so if anyone's got any questions or ideas, let me know. Because otherwise I'm flying around in this very terrible ship and having no idea what I'm doing. Improved command frequency is, yeah, very handy. It's just finding room for it on a build like this. I'd have to give up my supercharged weapons, which is sacrificing some crit chance and some damage. I can't give up Cold-Hearted because Cold-Hearted is just too good. Emergency weapon cycle is too good. Redirecting arrays. What I could do actually is all, because if I fail with all the tanking stuff I have on, then I deserve the death. Dane Bramage is what from the Aegis set? I don't have any Aegis gear on. The Battle Cloak is from the 3-piece of the consoles for this ship, if that's what you're talking about. Oh, the incremental? Yeah, that's from the I think that's off of the Intel version of the assault cruiser, the tier 6 version. And then the Metron gas warhead launcher is off of the command one. I don't have a build for any Nicole ship. If you want a specific build for that, I would say see if there's any on STO builds, but that's not a very popular ship. There's like 3 KDF and Karat right now. Purple. See if this pops. Nope, it's back down to 2. What is the worst tier 6 ship for DPS? That's a good question. You know, the Excelsior's always been the joke. If you have the Infinity Ultra Rare box, the Epic quality box, save it. On Tuesday they're redoing that and you'll be able to change it over to any of the other T6 ships. Yeah, the Excelsior, back to that, is pretty bad. The Excelsior, I did a joke video with that a while back. Back in one of the previous metas. Trying to think. I can't, like, think of any others that are really bad. Maybe one of the... Is there, like, a raider with a terrible bridge officer layout? Only, like, 6 weapons or something? I don't know, I'd have to look at all the ships again to tell for sure. I mean, there's quite a few that are, you know, bad, but they can all do something. Okay, let's take a look at this thing here. Like every ship here I'm looking at, there's some that have issues, but these can all do something. when it comes to the worst cruisers, the Excelsior's definitely going to be there, and may not be the most popular opinion ever, but I would have to argue that the Galaxy Dreadnought would actually be up there also as one of the worst cruisers because of its bridge officer stations. I don't think I even own. Look at its bridge officer stations. One Lieutenant Commander Tactical. So you can do a Lieutenant Commander Tactical and an Ensign. And it's got a command seat. Yeah. There's some changes I would very much like to see on some ships. But to answer that for sure, yeah, the worst C store Tier 6 ships are gonna come down to be one of the Dreadnought Cruiser or the Romulan or KDF version of it. Um or the Excelsior. The Excelsior is just terrible. Like in that video with it, Goss, that was only because of that meta at the time where you could get how much DPS off the plasma consoles and feedback. That was all that ship was really relying on. Didn't have much of anything else to go for it. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Jupiter, but I would still say because any science ship, any commander science ship is going to have potential to do DPS because of the Gravwell, Subspace Vortex, DRB combo. Now when it comes to worst lockbox ship, I have to take a look here. I keep hoping that something sells. Gotta gamble more.
Buy another drink. Maybe it'll bring you good luck.
The Benton is one for lockbox ship that never got too much love, but the Benton's not actually that bad, being it's got an intel seat. Lieutenant Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Universal, so you can put a bit of back on there. The downside to the Benton is it came out with Delta Rising, and it's only got the single specialization seat. So I think I made a post a while back. I wish they would have went back and done something with them. Was a lot of the early tier 6 lockbox and low buy ships only have one specialization seat. And then there was a point where they swapped it up and started giving them two. The something that I would like to see, I'm gonna mispronounce your name probably, Schaefer, is I would like to see improved rewards for endgame queues, especially Elite, because right now, in any part of the game, for the time you spend in Elite content, you lose the reward potential, basically, versus if you were doing it on normal or advanced. Like, if you go and do a queue, or not a queue, a random system patrol and you do it on normal, you're going to be done and get, a reward that is okay. But if you go and do that on Elite, you're spending 8 times the amount of time in there because the enemies have 8 times the HP, and the rewards you get is only like 2.5 times better XP wise. So I think improving that would be a good start. But just for the queues to have some unique reward for playing on Elite. Like Elite queues. Like if I go into HSC, I should be getting more than the marks, salvage, you know, the stuff that you can get in other places. There should be something that is completely unique to Elite. It's like, I know a lot of people weren't quite fans of it back in the day, but before they did the Reputation revamp, do you guys remember the Omega drops where if you did like Kier, Kittimer, Infected, it would give you a random drop that you could use to turn into hopefully get a shield or something from Roxy at DS9? That was a very fun system. I think Elite should have something like that that gives us some unique, powerful reward. Or if they don't want to give it something that's too OP, they could just have like, do what some games do, where it's a unique visual that is really good. Something like that would be nice. Now, back to the topic before, like, worst lockbox or low-buy ships. The Elachi Ornash, let's take a look at it. If I recall, this wasn't ever a really popular ship. Lieutenant Commander Tactical / Command. And 2 Lieutenant, there's a Lieutenant Universal and a Lieutenant Commander Universal, so I guess it's not the worst thing ever because you can run 2 Lieutenant Commander Tacticals. But it's still not that great of a ship. Especially with the... I guess that's not the worst Starship Mastery. Just not good at what it is. I know a lot of people didn't like the Walker, but it's not the worst thing ever either. So for the lockbox and low-buy ships, I would have to say it's going to be one of those early ships that only has a single specialization seat. Yeah, Goss, the salvage is really terrible now. Dane Bramich, I think you mentioned the Zenkethi ships. Now, the Zenkethi escort, that's not a bad ship. Take a look at the battlecruiser again. Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Ensign Engineering Pilot. That Ensign Engineering is stupid. Especially having the pilot seat there. That's just such a waste. See, you think that this may be bad, but the miracle worker abilities are actually really good for tax. Like, the issue is that a lot of them are really high rank, so your lieutenant commander and commander slots. But that's why, like, the Zenkethi Dreadnought, that is actually a really good ship. It's not going to be the Scimitar, but it's still a very good ship because some of the abilities it has for the miracle worker stuff, and it's got a commander miracle worker seat, are actually pretty good. Now, the issue with the other ships that have the commander miracle worker, those are the, the cruisers. You can't do too much offensive stuff on a cruiser, so that's why those never really did too well. Now, let's just take a look at the low-buy ships. Like your early ones, like the Hazari and the Astica. After that, I think they started to do the 2 Yeah, the 2 seats, command and intel. Yeah, so basically the first 2 lockboxes that came out with tier 6 ships only had a single specialization seat. I would very much like to see them go back and just add another seat onto them. Reading chat. Yeah, Schaefer, it's been so long. I mean, what's it been since the reputation change? What, 4 or 5 years? Um, how many other games out there give you random rewards for completing very hard content? No, that's something that's successfully done in how many other games? I don't see why they couldn't do that here. It's a solid design choice that I think when I was doing Destiny, we used to see that at the end of like doing the raids. That was very successful. Now, Goss, if you want to know my personal opinion on the worst ship in the game, it's this one right here, the Dyson Science Destroyer. Now, I know it's a science ship, so it can do something, but I hated this ship so much when it came out that I wouldn't even get the free one. I hated it that much. It was just terrible. Now, the Apex, that was a very unpopular ship. Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Universal, so it can do standard stuff, but it's just back in the day it was too big, slow moving. There were just so many better options. And you never see anyone flying a Dromius. Some of these ships you forget exist. This can do Lieutenant Commander TAC and Lieutenant TAC. Just standard. Yeah, I think there's enough potential options they could do for Elite that they could have something that would incentivize people to actually play it. So I have a question for you all. Did anyone go and order one of them 3D printed ships? I was just checking the STO subreddit and saw they had tweeted a little bit ago that some of the first ships are about ready to be painted that people had ordered. And if you did, what ship did you get printed? Gallon, I imagine they are, but we know nothing about that at this time. Graham, you're such a positive person. This is a pro tip right here, what I'm doing. I have EC from something selling. What I'm gonna do is go buy 2 keys. If I can afford 2 keys. This is why I have 0 EC. just too expensive. Okay, everyone, well, is there any final questions anyone has? Because I've got stuff to do here in just a little bit, so I'm going to be hopping off here shortly. You know it. I like my lockboxes. Gotta gamble, man.
Don't worry, the table isn't rigged anymore.
STO is not dead, but it is certainly a very quiet game. There's just not much to do until the expansion comes out. I have not kept track of my odds. I would say there have been points where beating the average, like if you, like I did that video last year about when to open lockboxes, you know, what time. And if I actually follow that and open and have enough lockboxes that I open at one of those points, I'll usually pull a ship. But I mean, that's, it's just a matter of if having like 150 keys on me at any point anymore. That just doesn't happen often. What am I trying to do here? How to relist this? Also, not that I'm trying to like say to buy my stuff, but if you're wanting to get ready for that expansion in 2.5 months, 2.5 months, it's not a bad idea to start buying some traits and stuff ahead of time. And like the research assignments.
Oh, your luck
I think the research assignments were already going a bit crazy. It's not too bad. It's also going to be interesting to see if the odds change at all with what they have done with the merging of the various boxes for ships. Because they're merging the tier 5 and the secondary boxes, and then they're merging the 2 tier 6 boxes, so who knows what that'll do to the odds. Hopefully we'll have slightly better odds on getting a ship. Like a tier 6 ship. But knowing Cryptic, they'll have just assigned that drop rate from the ultra rare T6 box into something else. Well, with the research assignments, like they have said, we're going to be starting off at level 60 and that we're going to easily get to 65. But my concern is what about all the specializations? Now, they have said that they're going to give us some specializations that are partially done, but even with that, we're going to have to get how much done specialization-wise? Especially if you want to get every specialization tree done. It's not going to hurt to have a bunch of research assignments stockpiled so that when an XP event happens, they'll probably do a recruitment event to just spam all of your specializations at that point. It's what I did with the temporal recruitment event. I had about 200 research assignments I used, and that XP weekend where it was like a 2.5 times bonus, I went and used pretty much all of them. And I had that character done with every specialization that was out at that time within a day. And I'll probably do the same here. If it really depends on. No, the we're making new characters. Um, remember the Jem'Hadar faction? I'm talking about that. So you'll have a new character to work on.
The house always wins.
Anyhow, I am going to end the stream now. So if you have any more questions, just leave them in the comment section when this becomes a video here after YouTube does its rendering stuff. Well, I'll see you all around.